Hello everyone, Dolphin Oracle here again today. Checking out antiX-mate ISO edition. On the antiX homepage, you see a news item about antiX-mate images available. And what the net images are they're a minimum system. They're basically going to get you to a command line when you start. Your Ethernet's going to work, probably not your wireless. Because a lot of firmware is not present. So let's check it out. They're small downloads, under 150 megabytes. Now I have downloaded. There's two. There's the fully supported or the currently supported antiX 16 version that uses Jessie repos, or the antiX testing antiX 17 version was a stretch. Now I'm going to go a little bit off the rails. And use the antiX 17 because it's fun, and because I just want to give it a try. I've already set this up. If you saw my video from last night with the antiX news items, you know that I already have an antiX set up with Mate Desktop 16.1, as I recall. So I thought I'd walk you through how I set that up. So I've already downloaded the ISO. And so I've got it mounted. I've got the disk in a virtual machine. And this is the main boot up, and it's not going to look anything different than before, except when you boot, you're going to get just the command line stuff. So you got to get comfortable with a couple of commands. Now, the first thing we're going to do, this is a brand new system, so we got to set up the partition. So I'm going to try to do that with the tools on the net ISO. If these don't work, I can always drop back to a regular ISO and use gparted, which I know will work. But I'm going to try the command line version just to have some fun. So let's log in as root and give it a go. Root and root are the passwords. CLI installer. Do I want to repartition the disk? Yes. Now, I'm going to give you a caution here. On the antiX 16 version of this ISO, the repartition tool does not work. It segfaults. Maybe it'll work on real hardware, but it doesn't work real well for me in VirtualBox. Now, the antiX 17 one works okay. So we're going to go ahead and do with that. If you, like I said before, you can always drop back and use a different ISO and gparted to partition the disks. Anyway, remember, this is a VirtualBox install. And also remember that the CLI installer doesn't support UEFI. So that's one reason I'm doing this in VirtualBox, because I don't have any legacy boot computers anymore. Or actually, I've turned legacy boot off in all of them because it was confusing things. So, do you want to repartition the disk? Yes. So I've got a free disk here, 12 gigabytes. It's a relatively standard virtual disk. I've actually already set up a GPT label. That means it is using a GPT partition table. That's all that means. What's GPT? Well, it's basically allows for unlimited, not unlimited, but a lot of primary partitions, so you don't have to worry about that whole extended partition business. It does work with the legacy boots because it does have an MBR area, so that's okay. Anyway, I've just kind of switched over to using GPT all the time. So I'm going to make a new partition for my system, and I'm going to make that 10 gigabytes. Now, this is cool because this partition editor in the console uses kind of human readable, human readable numbers. So I'm going to use a 10 gig system partition, and that is fine. Linux file system, you can see it put in up there. And now I'm going to make a new partition. I'm going to use the arrow keys and navigate down. Ooh, it's all old school console stuff. And say a new partition. I'll make it 2 gigs, and I'm going to change its type to Linux swap, which is right there. And you see that's good. Now, no changes have happened until I hit the right button. So let's hit the right button. Do you want to make these changes? Yes, I do. And now that has been done. It is done. So we're done with the partition editor. Now, I am going to use SDA1 for the installation, obviously. So you got to remember that label. You got to remember this label where you want it to go, SDA1. Okay. So now we're done with the partition editor, and it now says, "Hey, root partition, where you want it? SDA1. What type do you want? 3 for ext4. Do what you want, but that's what I want. Separate /home? Nah, this is VirtualBox. Are you running antiX-net? This is important, yes, because it has to download some Grub stuff. And it's going to do that. And, I mean, can you believe how fast that partitioning went? I mean, that was crazy fast. You can't start up Gpart in the amount of time that console partition editor did its thing. Setting up, generating some locales. Okay, so here we get the configuring Grub for your PC. Now this is going to sound a little confusing because Debian's Grub updater doesn't realize that you're running on a live system. So it's going to try to do something that it can't do. It's going to try to install the Grub bootloader on the live system. It's going to fail. But this question is very important. Do you want to install the package maintainer's version of some configuration file or keep the local version? I'm keeping the local version because it's set up for Annex already. So I'm going to say keep the local version. Now these questions don't matter, but you have to answer them because this installation is going to fail. So you got to tell Grub where to install. It's going to fail. Okay, remember we're running on a live ISO right now inside a VirtualBox. Grub failed to install. Yes, I know Grub failed to install. Writing Grub to the boot days fail. Continue. Yes, because the very next question is, well, now the next question. The first question is I'm going to copy the file system over to SDA1. This is a no-frills install, okay? This is plain Jane as it gets. We're not even talking about X environments. This is just getting you to a console environment. Install Grub on the MBR. Yes, now this is the CLI installer asking, and yes, this will work. It doesn't take that long. Computer's name, I'm going to call it antiX-mate because that's what I'm going to call it down the road. You want to set up a system localization? No, because English is okay for me. Don't want to do the keyboard? No, because of that, so fine. Console layout's fine. Do you want to set up time zone? Yes, because it's set to UTC. You see it tells you it's set to UTC by default. So I'm going to set my time zone to Eastern. Do you want to disable startup services? No, there's not that many things to disable anyway. Is this a remaster or snapshot install? No. What's your username? Dolphin. Unix password. Type it in my password. Yes, the cursor won't move. Don't ask me why. Set all login for Dolphin. No, because it won't work anyway. All right, so cleaning up, install, finish, reboot without the CD to start the program. So you type reboot. It tells you right there to type reboot. Hit the button to eject the disk from VirtualBox, and now you're going to get the plain Jane Debian install thingamabob Grub boot menu, and now we're going to boot back up into the console system. antiX-mate login. My login name is Dolphin, and my password is my password, and there we are. And there is installing the net ISO into VirtualBox. One imagines the same on new hardware, but like I said, I can't do that because of the UEFI thing. So anyway, there you go. That's video 1. Video 2, we're going to set up a basic X environment with the Mate desktop. That's coming up. For tips, tricks, how-tos, head over to antiX.mepis.org or throw up a post at antiX.freeforms.org. This is Dolphin Oracle signing off. Have a great day.